Hello everyone and welcome to the ApeCast. I'm your host AJ, and let's get right into this. Now, this year it's been a little bit of a crazy year. With this year's presidential elections, it's been a little crazy, especially for us youngsters. We don't really know what to think about it. Um, Now recently was the first presidential debate, and personally I thought it was a ton of blabber and not really any discussion. While Donald Trump fiddled with his thumbs and Hillary just kept on going on and on about how she'll help this and that people, just appealing to everybody. And Donald Trump just, I can't make sense of him. And I don't think anybody can. I think it's hilarious. I think it's like two little kids fighting against each other for their mom's attention. In this case, the mom would be the United States. That's not the only thing I wanted to talk about, but let's just keep on talking about that. Now, Hillary, who cares if you have pneumonia? Who cares if Hillary has pneumonia? Who cares if Donald Trump has the best medical record anywhere? I mean, the vice presidents seem not as bad as the actual presidents, so even if one of them does die while they're in office, I'm sure the vice presidents have it in hand. Um, and either way, who watches the vice presidential debate? I mean, really. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about electric skateboards, and that might be a little bit weird, but I'd like to talk about it and talk about it in the comments if you have any interest in that kind of stuff. But right now, nobody really has access to it. I mean, it's a $2,500 not instrument, piece of electronics, and nobody can really afford it if you're in the middle class. If you're like the YouTuber Casey Neistat, then you have 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them, 2 of which you might have been given. And I just think it's really cool the way he can handle a 4-pound camera and just go on a skateboard. I think it's pretty interesting. I think that his life in New York is pretty interesting, but I think that the boosted board that he goes on is really interesting, and I feel like I don't know, but he has to be cheating somehow by carrying his 4-pound camera, drinking kale juice, and also using the controller for the boosted board at the same time. There has to be some trick to it. I mean, if you look at a couple of his earlier videos, the people that he does videos with have no idea how he does it. Either way, that's not the main thing I want to talk about. Either way, Casey, if you watch this, you're awesome. But, but, um, but, um, that's just a sense of my personality. Yeah, you can tell it's bad. Um, the hoverboard, which came out 2 years ago, I think it's the freaking cringiest thing ever. Um, I think that the hoverboard is pretty affordable. A lot of people can afford it, which is why it became very mainstream. Now, I feel like boosted boards and a lot of electronics like the Oculus Rift and VR can become a lot more popular if they decreased the production cost. Now, I don't know how they would do it, but the only way you're going to reinvent the way we think about electronics is if you lower the price of things. I mean, look at electric cars. We want the world to be green, but I mean, someone who makes $30,000 a year can't afford an electric car, and that's really the problem. And that's been the problem for many, many, many years. I mean, if you look back at the 1910s, during that time, the average worker could still took a horse and buggy. You just walked to work. Nobody had a car. Only the rich had cars. That's basically what's happening right now. Now, if the, with Ford, what's his name? I forget his first name. With Ford Engineering, he discovered the manufacturing line, and basically it just made everything be faster, and it decreased the cost of making cars, and it really revolutionized the way people do things. And I feel like that's the thing that we need to do again with this stuff. Um, Now, I know the companies may not be big, but let's say the Oculus Rift. It was just bought by Facebook, huge company. Why can't they make the Oculus Rift cheaper and more affordable for everyone to buy? Now, there is one more thing. If you're going to make an Oculus Rift, if you're going to make VR, then make it compatible with something that people will actually have. Instead of making it compatible with a computer that has like 7 Titan X's in it, why don't you make it so that you can just use it on the Xbox One or maybe a Mac? even though that's definitely not feasible because Apple products suck and break within 2 years. Talking about that, my sister's computer, she recently got it fixed. If I forgot to talk about it in the last Apple video, but her computer broke down and her screen went black like suddenly. It hadn't been in the sun, it hadn't been in extreme cold, it hadn't been in water. She's never dropped it. And it just broke down, and she always deletes files that she doesn't need, and it just went, and she had to bring it to the Apple store, and luckily she had a warranty for it. But if she didn't, then it would have been like the iPod's dead battery. If you've heard of Casey Neistat's video, Apple's Dirty Secret, he talks about it. Well, it came out in 2001. But he talks about how Apple likes to make things and that only last a certain amount of time, and then they totally refuse to fix it for you, because first of all, the people who work at their stores don't know how to do anything, and they're all 60-year-old men who just go there for a job when they're retired, or they're 20-year-olds that are working in the summer or out of college, and they have no idea what they're talking about because they're majoring in history. Like I said, underwater basket weaving. Um, but that's basically what I was wanted to talk about with the electric skateboard and a lot of that. Casey is the Casey Neistat. You should go watch his videos. He does a lot of videos with that. He's also the creator of Beme, which is a social media app that I've been using a lot. Basically what it is that it's supposed to give an unedited view on the world, and it's pretty interesting. It's not too popular right now, but I feel like it could really grow if people started using it a lot more. I personally have like 10 beams on it, and basically it's not pictures, it's basically videos, and you can post your responses to people's videos, and it's really cool. Like, but your response is a picture of you with like a caption. It's not just comment like Instagram. And I really hope they don't sell it to like something like Facebook or something. I would be pretty sad if they did, because that's what Instagram did. Facebook bought Instagram, and Facebook wanted to buy Snapchat for something like $1 billion, several $1 billion, and Snapchat refused, and I think that's great. Talking about Snapchat, recently I had a discussion with one of my family members about how Snapchat it's given kids a reason to post things that should not be posted on social media. Like if you didn't want, like the good old saying, if you didn't want your grandmother to see it, then don't post it. At least that's what we've been taught in school. Anyway, my mother and I were talking about how Snapchat gives kids away so that the pictures disappear. You could take a screenshot, but most of the time people just let it disappear, and you could post some pretty explicit stuff on there if you're in middle school or early high school, and people really wouldn't pay attention to it because it just disappears. Now, although word would go around, what proof do you have? Um, Either way, I think it's that brought to my head some ideas about that. It's just sort of interesting. Oh, and also, did you like my new intro? It's Dream a Little Dream of Me with Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. I've been listening to a lot of Michael Bublé, Bubbles, and I've been listening to a lot of Dean Martin. Great composers, great musicians, just overall great music. Um, Sorry if I sound a little bit sick or tired. It's been a tough week at school. I've had lots of work, so yeah. Um, Anyway, I hope you've had a nice day. I hope you liked my video. Subscribe, leave a like, and thanks for watching.